Hello student, welcome back to my channel English for Supplement. In this chapter, I will compile two chapters to become one because it is have the same of text structures about narrative. It's talking about a fairy tale. In every country is always have a fairy tale. And in this textbook, we study about a fairy tale from Japan and also from Indonesia with the title Izoboshi and Malin Kundak. Narrative text. E-Sup English for Supplement. For the first grade of vocational level created by Yuni. Remember, if you want to join an online class, always use face masks, make a distance with others, wash your hands, stay and study at home. This is the regulation of online class. Be on time, use the restroom before or after class, keep your microphone mute, keep your camera on, pay attention, listen to the teacher and your classmate, sit up in a chair and stay seated in a quiet spot, raise your hand to talk, sit away from toys or distraction, eat before or after class, have your supplies ready, and do your best thing and the best work. Okay, now we go to the text structures of this chapter is about narrative. What is narrative text? Narrative text is a piece of text which tells a story and entertains the reader or the listener. Narrative text contain of orientation, complication, and also resolution. In complication, usually have natural conflict, social conflict, psychological conflict. Okay, it is next the example of narrative. Autobiography, biography, cultural narrative, fables, fairy tales, folktale, legend, myth, recount, science fiction, traditional tales. Okay, next. The language features of the narrative text usually first using simple past, second using time conjunction, for example, then, before that, when, finally. The third using adverb of time, for example, once upon a time, one day, etc. And the fourth using action verb. And the last using direct speech. And in this chapter, we have concentrated to direct speech. Now, we go to the reading text. We have two reading texts. The first is Isombosi for the chapter 12 and Malin Kundang for the chapter 13. Here we go with the reading one. Isombosi. Once upon a time, there was an old couple who didn't have a child. They lived in a small house near the village forest. Please give us a child, they asked God every day. One day, from the household scene to altar, they heard a cute cry. Wah, wah. They looked and saw a crying baby who looked just like a little finger. This child must be a gift from God. Thanks to God, we will call this child Isombosi, they said. They raised Isombosi with much care, but Isombosi never grew bigger. Hi Isombosi, do you want to be eaten by a frog? Isobosi was always being bullied by the children of the village and often went home feeling unhappy. Grandmother would make some big rice ball and encourage him. Eat aloud and grow up quickly, grandmother said. One day, Isoboshi said, I will go to capital to study and become a respectable person. Then I will come back. Grandfather and grandmother were worried about him, but Isoboshi's mind would not be changed. At once, they began to prepare for his trip. Isombosi shirt and neared sword in a straw case, put on a cap for a seat hat, and start out with the sculpting stuff in a high spirit. I'm going now, Isombosi said. Is he safe with such a small body? Grandfather and grandmother asked. They saw him off. Isobosi went on a trip with a big waist in a small body. At last, Isombosi reached the capital city and anchored under the bridge. Then he climbed up to the railing and viewed the top. There is a fine palace over there. I shall ask them at once. At long last, Isombosi arrived at the palace. Excuse me, but I want to meet a fond lord. The lord came to the door. What? Who there? Here, I'm at your feet. Oh, how small! Why do you want to meet me? Please, let me be your retainer. I wonder if your very small body can do anything. In a, I'll stay in your pocket and guard you from all harm. When Isobosi said so, a bee came buzzing by. Yeah, Isobosi yelled, stabbing the bee. Bravo! I implore you. It would be good if you became a princess man. Oh, what a cute fellow he is, said the princess, putting Isobosi on her palm. I will defend you upon my life, said Isobosi. The princess liked Isobosi, and she taught him reading, writing, and various study. Further, Isobosi practiced fencing very hard in order to be strong. One day, the princess went out to the worship at the Kiyomizu temple. Suddenly, there was a strong wind, where the sun demon appeared. The leader of the demon tried to grab the princess. Help me! She screamed. Isoboshi tried to help her, but the demon caught him and threw him into his mouth. Isoboshi, who was swole, jumped the demon's stomach. The demon rolled over and spat out Isoboshi. Isoboshi jumped at the demon and stabbed his eyes. The remaining the demon were frightened. They ran away in a great haste. But one demon, who was left behind, trembled while holding the magic hammer. Do you want me to stab your eyes too? Isoboshi asked. Please don't. That's the magic hammer that will grant you a wish. I will give it to you, so please spare me. And saying this, he ran off in a hurry. Thank you, Isoboshi. You have saved my life, the princess said. Princess, please wave this magic hammer and make a wish that I may become big, said Isoboshi. The princess waved it and asked, May Isoboshi become big? And then, strangely before her eyes, Isoboshi began to grow. He grew into a nice young man. They went back to the palace and the princess asked the king to let her marry Isoboshi. The princess and Isoboshi then got married and they invited grandfather and grandmother to live with them in the palace. They lived happily ever after. This story adapted from Japanese fairy tale 1987. Now we go to second reading text is Malin Kundang. The title of this reading text is The Legend of Malin Kundang. A long time ago, in a small village near the beach in West Sumatra, lived a woman and her son, Malin Kundang. Malin Kundang and his mother had to live hard because his father had passed away when he was a baby. Malin Kundang was a healthy, diligent, and a strong boy. He usually went to the sea to catch fish. After getting fish, he would bring it to his mother or sell the caught fish in the town. One day, when Malin was sailing, he saw a merchant ship being raided by a band of pirates. With his bravery, Malin helped the merchant defeat the pirates. To thank him, the merchant allowed Malin to sail with him. Malin agreed in a hope to get a better life. He left his mother alone. Many years later, Malin became wealthy. He had a huge ship and a lot of crews who worked loading trading goods. He was also married to a beautiful woman. When he was sailing on his trading journey, his ship landed on a coast near a small village. The local people recognized that it was Malingkundang, a boy from the area. The news ran fast in the town. Malingkundang has become rich and now he is here. An old woman who was Malingkundang's mother ran to the beach to meet a new rich merchant. He wanted to hug him to release her sadness of being lonely after a long time. When his mother came near him, Malingkundang, who was with his beautiful wife and his ship crew, denied that she was his mother. She had pleaded Malingkundang to look at her and admit that she was her mother, but he kept refusing to do it and yelling at her. At last, Malingkundang said to her, "Enough, old woman! I have never had a mother like you, a dirty and ugly woman." After that, he ordered his crew to set sail to leave the old woman, who was then full of the sadness and anger. Finally, feeling enraged, she cursed Malingkundang that he would turn into a stone if he didn't apologize to her. Malingkundang just laughed and set sail. Suddenly, a thunderstorm came in the quiet sea, wrecking his huge ship. He was turned out to a small island. It was really too late for him to avoid his curse. He had turned into a stone. This story taken with adaptation for the narrative analysis of Malingkundang. After we have to read of the reading text and you have to comprehend it, create as many questions as you can based on a story. Use question words such as who, when, where, why, and also how. This is the example how to make a question using a question word. Question number 1. Once upon a time, there was an old couple who didn't have a child. They lived in a small house near the village forest. The question is, where did the old couple live? And the next sentence, Isombozi was always being bullied by the children of the village and even went home feeling unhappy. The question is, how did Isombozi feel when he was bullied? Okay, now you created a question from the both of the reading text. Okay. Okay, student, after you read about the text of Malingkundang, you can get some information from that, and then you can try to find which is the orientation, complication, sequence of event, and also resolution of the reading text from Malingkundang. Okay, student, create narrative text. When you want to create narrative text, don't forget about orientation, complication, and also resolution. Okay, imagine that you were Isombozi. Write down two diaries entires. One is before and the other is after you leave home. Remember, you need to include information not only about your action but also about your thought and feeling. Nah, ini bisa dimasukkan ke dalam detailnya. Okay. Now, we go to the language focus, direct, indirect speech, or usually we call grammar review. The objective of grammar review is define, identify, and also change direct to indirect. Okay? Here is tenses, here is direct speech, and also this is a indirect speech ya. Ini tensesnya, ini kalimat langsung dan ini kalimat tidak langsungnya. Oke, karena ini ada di chapter sebelumnya, bisa kalian baca sendiri. Oke, selanjutnya Bu Yuni ke detailnya. Oke, nah ini adalah direct speech, ini indirect speech. Contohnya misalnya, June said, I am a very tired now. Jangan lupa di direct speech diberi koma seperti ini. Oke. Di indirect speech atau reported speech, Jun said that di indirect speech atau reported speech ada penghubungnya. Jun said that he was very tired then. Kalau awalnya di direct adalah now, kalau di reported speech atau indirect jadi then. Oke, contoh selanjutnya. Nah, di sini ada beberapa contoh. 5 contoh selanjutnya, kalimatnya yang pertama adalah direct speech, yang selanjutnya adalah indirect speech. We will call this child Isombosi. Kasih koma. The old couple said. Nah, di reported speech, the old couple said that they would call the child Isombosi. Okay. Next example. Isombosi told the grandparents, I will go to a capital to study. On a reported speech, Isobosi told grandparents that he would go to a capital to study. And then next, I'm going now, Isombosi said. Isombosi said that he was going then. Okay, this is the last of explanation about narrative and also language features that usually follow in a narrative text. I hope you enjoy with what I explained to you and see you for the next E-Sup.